everybody, thanks so much for listening. We have two special guests. I've been looking forward to having them on. I've been following them on Twitter for quite some time. And first of all, I want to thank you guys for coming on, because I know there's a lot of people that are in the lifestyle that are afraid to talk about it, that are afraid to even show them their faces in interviews. So I really respect that and appreciate you guys coming on. For people that are listening on my channel that don't know who this is, you can follow them on Twitter. It's BC Flyers, FLYERS 2016, hot wife in Oklahoma, but it's just okay in general. So definitely check it out. The podcast is Boardroom to Bedroom. You can check it on YouTube, all the podcasting sites. So guys, thanks so much for coming on. Appreciate your time tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Our pleasure.
Right. So let's kick it around. Can you introduce to the audience, both of you guys, just give us a little synopsis?
Yeah. What do you want? Us personally, how we got into this? What's the first question?
Well, yeah, let's just start out with who you are, and then we can get into the lifestyle after that.
Okay.
Well, we are Brad and Corey, like you said, BC Flyers, commonly known on the internet. We've been...
Yeah, we're not from British Columbia.
No.
We don't follow the hockey team. We're both pilots, and that's where BC Flyers came from. So,
right.
Wow.
It's the original BC Flyers was BC Flyers 2010. We've been through a few versions since then.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. So we are a longtime married couple. Been married 26 years, just past 26 years this past June. That's when we took the trip to the UK this year to go celebrate.
Right.
Married long time. Both have background in, we met in seminary, Bible college, actually. Spent some years pastoring in the church, working in the church, things like that. We're business owners. We've started over 40 companies. We own a company now where we help other companies get started, do a lot of business consulting, growth management, things like that. Family, very tight-knit family. I guess that's a little about our background.
Brad, I got to go into this because growing up, I went to Catholic school my whole life.
Yeah.
And they brainwash you damn about sex.
Yeah.
No sex before marriage. You're going to get an STD. You're going to get this and that. And I was one of the guys, and I think too much sometimes. So I got friggin' paranoid. And when I came to college, I was not prepared for what that was going to entail. So how did you guys always have that kind of thoughts on the lifestyle? I mean, obviously going to seminary, it doesn't seem like that, but go ahead.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
When we met, I mean, I didn't know that was so bad, but I grew up, I was a church bus kid is what they called us, meaning my parents didn't go to church. They just sent us to church on the church bus. So they got some nights off. We went on Sundays and Wednesdays, and that was their time off. So
yeah, I, on the other hand, was raised very religiously, non-denominational Christian, Pentecostal. My dad was a pastor. We were very dedicated. We were in the church at least 3 times a week. Sex before marriage was absolutely forbidden, but it was blessed in marriage. So if we could just make it to that point, you were good. Nobody talked about it really. Other than that, my mom handed me a book, but I never read it. So didn't do me much good.
Yeah, I was always very sexual.
Right.
High school, college. I was a whore in high school, as much as people would let me be. And actually, when we met, we had a conversation. I was chasing her, of course, because that's what guys do. And during this chase, we started talking about our past, and I did not say anything. We were walking around the track at Bible college, and she's telling me, I don't know if I could marry you because I feel like I have more experience than you, and I don't think I could marry a man that I would have to lead and teach him things sexually. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my God, if she's going to teach me stuff, this is cool. Cause I didn't say anything.
He didn't say a word. So I assumed I had found this pure, innocent Bible college boy who had never done anything. And
I didn't know if I was scared or happy.
We didn't know how to communicate at all. So we went through the next, 6 months, not knowing each other, not even knowing how badly we had miscommunicated in that conversation.
Well, yeah, that was February, and we got married in June.
But
So
can we go into this because, you know, and like I'm talking about going to Catholic school from K through 12, and then going into a college that was a private college over in Boca Raton in South Florida, but it was still like, you know, somewhat of a Christian college, but it was kind of, you know, under wraps because, you know, they're trying to get anybody and their brother to fill enrollment. But there's so much taboo on sex in general, not even to talk about the lifestyle that we're going to speak about in just a minute. So, you know, as a person going into college, like I said, I struggled with this, and you're seeing all these, you know, I'm going to say it, the girls in high school that I looked at that thought they were hot. The college girls were not even, it wasn't even the same ballpark. It was like a different ball game, especially South Florida, Boca Raton. I mean, I was 3 miles from the beach. You're getting close to Fort Lauderdale, Miami. It's a totally.
That's what they say. You're in the big leagues now.
Yeah, right. So it's a totally different scene from. I grew up in Rhode Island, you know, smallest state in the Union. So it's very different there
and they wear
than
a
it
little
is
less
in South
clothing.
Florida. So yes, less clothing too. So, you know, I'm 18 years old going into this, and I don't know what the hell to do. And I'm learning on the run here. But again, I have that taboo in my mindset. So what would you say to somebody like me that went through that kind of brainwashing and that's still even, you know, at 30 years old trying to get past it in some ways?
I would say that I knew the same things. I didn't care. She knew the same things and cared very much. And how we got to this, which we can talk about here in a little while, was a very long journey. And the journey was, I don't care. I want to be me. I got asked to leave seminary because I don't mind fighting with the instructor and the professors. I don't mind. Well, let's talk about it. I'll talk about anything. And you don't talk about anything in religion, especially religion and politics and sex. We don't talk about. I'll talk about anything. So I never minded embracing those things. I didn't mind pushing those things. I knew what I wanted. I'll go do it. I've lived that way everywhere except in my marriage. In my marriage, we had an agreement that I broke in the second year, very early on, had an affair, and then told her about it. And it caused a lot of trouble. But I didn't do that again until we got there together. But you talk about how do you get past that? And Corey can speak more to that. What I tell everybody is you got this thing, everybody's got this thing inside them. I call it opening Pandora's box. You got this the inner you that people don't examine. Most people will never open that box. It's your core values. They'll never look at and say, why is this a rule to me? Is this my rule? Or is this my dad's rule or grandparents' rule or somebody else's rule? Most of the time we just live life and we just obey the rules. Nope, not supposed to do that. Well, then you're going to live a pretty unfulfilled life in a lot of areas. Things you wanted to do, you just can't because you never open that box to see what's in there. If it's yours, keep it. If it's not,
no, you're right. You're 100% right.
I was very much one that soaked all of that religion up with a sponge. I worried about going to hell. I wanted to do everything right. I wanted to please God. I mean, not that I didn't rebel in little ways. You know, I made out with boys and did other things, but didn't have sex. I was actually a virgin when we got married. Just barely.
I didn't know that till 2 nights before.
I really didn't know that. That's how naive I was.
Yeah, we actually had a fight where the 2 nights before she says, calls and says, I think we should talk about our past sex lives. And I thought, oh shit, this wedding could be off because I got a lot to talk about. But I didn't know what she had to say. So she told me, well, I made out with a boy and I dated a guy for 5 years and I touched his wiener once. I'm pretty sure I touched his wieners. I put my hand down his pants. I think that's what I did. And she said, and I think I had sex once. I said, what? She said, I think I had sex. I was like, you don't think you have sex? And she got mad. You weren't there. You don't know. I know. And I think I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. Hey, you know, I want to bring that up because I had a girlfriend in college that was a virgin at the time. She was 18. I was 21 and we had sex. And she says, I think I just had sex. I said, we did, you know, went in. And it just reminds me of what you were saying, Corey. And it's like crazy. Like, but it's all about that inexperience. And this girl, again, she was only 18 at the time, but she had never had sex before. And then, you know, she had it and she was wanted to do it 150 million times after that.
She didn't know until
right after the wedding. We headed back real quick to have a quickie before we drove off to the honeymoon.
Yeah.
And my first words were, "I've never done that before." I knew. I was like, "Oh, this is different."
Yeah. So you don't guess when you do that.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. I don't want to hog all the time. I know Darius has some questions, and we can go back and forth with that. Darius, feel free to jump in because I'll just start running my mouth for the rest of the time. But go ahead.
Brad and Corey, it's a pleasure to meet you too.
Likewise.
Likewise.
I'm writing a book, and I just finished it. It's on sex, dating, and sensual romance after 50. And you two, I looked on your Twitter account. I have been fascinated by you for a while, and I don't know if you remember the song Rick James, Super Freak. You two are it, because I want to know where you were 35 years ago, because I love your Twitter. You keep it real. It's fantastic. And we should have been neighbors because you guys are fantastic. I love it. My thing back in the day was being the dark and smooth player and being polyamorous, which at that time you had to keep everything on the low. So I appreciate what you were saying. But it was like beating the trim up and just being the worst as you can be. So I want to hit you with a couple questions. In this lifestyle, did you find out at the beginning whether it was a nymphomania thing or it was just appreciating sex for the fact of I want to enjoy sensuality or sex or pleasure?
So for us, it's do we enjoy it for sexuality and pleasure? And what was the first part?
The fact of the sensuality. Did you think about it from the nymphomaniac perspective? Because a lot of times we're considered nymphomaniacs if we just enjoy sex.
Yeah.
Just the rawness of it.
I'm a lot of acts. I don't fucking care that much. Nymphomaniac, alcoholic, I don't know. Truly sex for us is relational. And that's the truth of it. We talk about this a lot because we've been in this a bit and we're a little more public than a lot of people are. We get a lot of literally hundreds of questions per week. How do I get started? Can I talk to my wife? I've got questions. And we try to screen as best we can. We don't have time to answer them all. So people that are serious, that are couples, that are in committed relationships, we'll talk to, because we could answer a million questions a day from single dudes who really just want to bone, but they lead in like they got real questions and they don't. They just want to fuck. But because that's not who we are, every now and then we will meet somebody just to have fun. But sex without any kind of connection
can be awkward.
It is awkward. It's the most raw thing you do with someone. You get naked and trade body fluids to an act of somewhat cardio. If it goes too long, it's more exercise than pleasure until the very end. It's relational. It's getting to know someone, and we don't have to spend months doing that. We can get to know them in a few days or a week or a few hours and just get to know them and know a little bit more about them. And then when you have sex, it's much more fulfilling. It's pushing the buttons, learning. And the first time is always, and we say sex is dancing. And how we got comfortable with this way early on is it was year 15 when we started. We're year 26 now. We said, if we start dancing other people right now, they're 15 years behind the dance experience we have. We may learn a couple things, but it's not home. So we approach sex from very specifically, men love to chase. Women love to be chased. It's an age-old game. It's been going on forever. It won't stop. We got to the point in marriage where the game was boring. And I'm not trying to be rude. I say that because I knew every move she was going to make. I knew what her head tilt meant, what her eyes rolling this way meant, what her breathing meant, what that body meant. I knew everything, and she knew everything. And we tell people now that's home. That's perfect. I love it. But it's
Can I cut in there on you for that
new again.
Can I cut in there one?
Yeah.
You're familiar with Queen of Spades, right?
Familiar with what?
The Queen of Spades concept?
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you a question there, because when you're going down that pipeline, I want to make sure I get in there. Is there anything, Corey, for you that's been off limits as far as sensual sex, just straight raw fucking? Is it a beast mentality as a man? Is there anything that's off limits for you? And is there anything for you, Brad, that you won't let her do where it's just beast mentality?
Well, it's changed over time. I would say, when we first started, I was like, okay, we're not kissing because that's too intimate. You might actually develop feelings for somebody. I was really worried that if we developed any emotional connection that we might, fall in love with those people, so I had all those rules. And the more we did it, the more I realized, like he was saying, this is home, and you can do those actions with other people and it doesn't replace home. So,
yeah, there are a lot of sides to this, specifically the Queen of Spades. My problem with the Queen of Spades thing is it's based on a criteria that's very surface.
Exactly.
That's not, I mean, it's a white person who loves black cock.
Oh,
I don't care what color
meant.
the cock is. Corey loves.
I caught you off guard there, huh?
Yeah, Corey loves
I learned something new.
She just doesn't love long. And we have this conversation a lot. We guys all the time send just a 14-inch dick. Great. Have fun with that. Right. I don't know where you're going to put it, but have fun with that.
Exactly.
Because she literally, we put this out. It's not a secret. 7.5 inches, you're out because it doesn't fit. And we've tried several times and she's sore for a couple of days after. It just doesn't fit.
Okay.
Are there things that I don't let her do?
Okay.
There are things that the things that I would not let her do, saying would be things that she has a rule about or I don't expect. That's where we've gotten ourselves in trouble in this lifestyle. Okay. I'm not a rule maker, but she is. So she's had a lot of rules, and we'll get in the scenario and she'll break them, but I didn't. And now we have to fight. I didn't want to fight, but I didn't do the thing you said we couldn't do and you did it. Now we have conflict. So,
and it's something in my personality. I've learned a lot about myself. I tend to be a people pleaser, and I have a hard time saying no. So this has been really good for me in that learning who I am and being able to have my voice, as people say, I guess nowadays, and be able to say, no, I don't like that, or yes, I do, or whatever. Yeah. So it's been a learning experience in that department. So yeah, I think that the things that upset him are if it hurts me or in some way that is against what I would say.
If you violate you.
Exactly.
If you do a thing you don't want to do because somebody wanted you to do it.
Right.
I don't do those things with you or to you. So for you to let someone else do it and then me to have to pay the consequences because I don't get to play now, or I get to help you get through not feeling well or not feeling, that's not fun. That's right. That frustrates me.
So let me get this off there then. So basically there are rules to this game as the way you're doing, because that was my big question. I'm like, okay, so is it I can beat the pussy up and have a random, tear it up and Brad sits there and watches, or is it a matter of no, I can't because it's off limits? But let me throw one other thing in there. Being an old school scoundrel, one of the things I was thinking about is as I was watching your videos, do you ever get jealous or catch feelings when you're watching this and you think that maybe Corey is getting too close or too aroused by another character?
No, not about arousal, not getting too close. I've never had that. I do. Okay. Of course, I get jealous from time to time. It's random. And usually it is an expectation that I had that I didn't communicate that she breaks, or one that she clearly communicated and then broke. Okay. Now, because the question becomes then, if we have this rule and I can't do it, why is it not okay for me to not do it, but they get to do it?
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right.
So that's where the questions come from. And that's where the biggest points of our conflict have come in and vice versa. We've had a couple of scenarios that's gone the other way and it not handled well on either side. If there's a boundary and I don't cross that boundary, I don't cross that boundary out of love or respect for you or whatever. I know that's a thing you don't like. You've asked me not to do it. I don't do it, but you let someone else do it a lot. We're going to have a big problem.
Mm-hmm.
So there are clearly defined areas that you don't probe into. I want to make sure that's clear because I think a lot of people are thinking
there are things she doesn't enjoy. We don't have any boundaries between things we can't do. We've tried anal. I'm not a big fan of it to start with. She's not either, but we still every now and then go, we haven't done that in a while. Let's try that. She's never done that with anyone else. Okay. She is very, very, very sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
She has super, super sensitive nipples and clit. And I tell guys, if you think it's too much pressure, it's 10 times too much pressure. And with me, if I apply too much pressure, she'll... But I've watched her let them apply it for an hour and then she's sore for a week. And I'm like, that is not fucking cool. I get a head smack and they get permission. That can't work. So that's where that's been conflict for us.
Sure.
Now, Corey, for you, do you have a problem when Brad engages with other women? Or does that just a situation where it's just you versus him? Because I was curious about that. I saw a lot of activity with you, but not with him. So I'm just curious about what's the interaction.
Yeah, he absolutely has contact with other women. We've done threesomes. I've watched. He's done it alone. So anything I do, he's free to do. It's a two-way street.
The issue with you seeing me with other women is guys will readily sign all the consent forms required for us to play with them in something we're going to use. It's federally required that if I post an image or a video that has someone that's not us in it, that I have their copy of their photo ID, a signed consent form saying they give me permission to post this article. There's a whole litany of things people don't understand that is federal statute. You can't just go posting random porn of people. It's a felony. So, number one, I don't. We've had some ladies that have signed those, and you've seen a few of those videos. But most of the ladies that come hang out with us are much more relational. They're hanging out with Corey and I. They go out on the boat in the summer. We have some fun. We don't record that stuff. That wasn't the intention. We never had the intention to be on OnlyFans or to charge anything for any of this. We were having fun. Mm-hmm. We're still just, I mean, we started this way back when Tumblr let porn on. That was the first photo I ever posted. I took some pictures. I took some pictures of Corey, and she was like, she's very bashful. Mm-hmm. So I had a couple pictures, told her how hot they were. She's like, "You're the only one that thinks that you're my husband." I said, "Bullshit. I bet we put these online. People love them." And she's like, "No, don't do it." Well, maybe you want. No, don't do it. Well, shy. Maybe you could post one. And I posted it, and she said, "Don't do it. It's already out there, babe." And everybody loved it. And that's where she discovered she's an exhibitionist. She loves for people to see her, but she would never post her own photo.
Right. I didn't ever want to be like, look at me, look at me. I just thought that was, I don't know. It just wasn't who I was.
What's the most partners that you guys have ever entertained, per se? And when you consider, or have you considered interracial couples or just single people only, or has it been a mixed bag of tricks?
Oh, shit. I don't know. Things? I don't know what we haven't done other than I am not bisexual. So we've done no bisexual male play. Okay. Outside of that, I don't know what we haven't done. That we just last December, we had some bets a long time ago. We started just some challenges to, you know, we started this a long time ago. And one of the ones we never got to was having sex with 7 people in 24 hours. Well, last December, we had an 11-person gangbang.
Yeah, we checked that box.
That was a bit much.
We had done a couple gangbangs before with that.
3 or 4 people.
Yeah, 3 or 4. That was probably best. 11 was a bit much.
Yeah, we've done some orgies. We've had 2 or 3 girls over at once. We play. I mean, online it looks very one-sided. Like Corey has all the play. That's very much a personification. Mm-hmm. Number one, people don't want to see white boy's ass, average dick, fucking whoever. They just don't care, and that makes sense. Guys are visual. The girls aren't. They don't look for that stuff. The guys will look at your naked boobies all day, every day, and be happy.
And have you guys actually engaged in the key club principle too?
In the what?
Neighbors, the key clubs.
No, no. We've had some long-term relationships with a couple, so that was as close as we came to the key club thing or the fishbowl thing. Or no, we had a year-long relationship with a couple, and we had a year-long relationship with a girlfriend at different times. Some of the things that we don't loudly. I mean, we're loudly bold about who we are. Of course, you see our Twitter and Reddit. We're not bashful, but we don't just scream that we're lifestyle. And it's probably a peculiarity of ours. In our experience in the last 11 years, when I say I'm lifestyle or we're going to go to a lifestyle event, that seems to connote an implied consent or permission to do things I haven't given you permission to do to me, or she hasn't given you permission to do to her. So lifestyle tends to come with expectations. To us, it's a dance every time. Mm-hmm. It's permission based every time. It's knowing that we're all here to have fun, but that doesn't mean we're dance partners. That means we're here having fun. And if the chemistry works for me and you or her and him or something could happen. But in the lifestyle thing, and one of the biggest complaints we get from new people is they go to a club and they feel surrounded, like all these people are in their space bumping and touching and rubbing. Well, you're there mostly naked. That's not our thing. It's not our scene.
They assume because you're there, you're down to fuck, but it's
just not us.
So you guys are more relationship orientated and developing a balance of understanding couplism and or being able to get an idea where that person fits into your overall scheme of things, per se. It's just not, okay, we just gonna fuck. You know, it's more.
It's just not what we do. Sex is, I'm not sexually motivated that way. If there was a great girl that walked in and she was just down to fuck, I'd be like, yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
We can go have some coffee. We can chat. I want to know who you are. Who am I fucking? I mean, if the opportunity fucks everywhere. For me, it's not very fulfilling or gratifying unless there's a little more in it.
Yeah. We've done the things like the gangbangs, obviously, where it just, is more of a one time or we've done those things, but generally speaking,
we've done many one-offs, but it's usually for content. Guys they want to fuck, great, sign the consent form. We can put this online. We can use content for it. They'll come over. And we've had a lot of fun doing those. I don't want these to sound like they're not fun. They're not the thrust of sex for us.
But let me, I just want to interject because you just brought this up, Brad, and I want to ask you this, and Corey too. When these guys are coming over, there's so much shit going on with COVID and now this bullshit with the monkeypox crap. How do you make sure, along with STDs in general, which has been going on for years upon years on end, how do you make sure that when there's sex, whether it's you, Brad, or Corey, that everything is safe there and no one's going to get sick in any way, shape, or form?
STDs, we're pretty specific on. We want a very recent test, like this week, and we do the same thing. COVID, monkeypox, don't fucking care.
Well, I know monkeypox is just some fluke thing that's happening.
COVID too. I don't know what to say. It sucks. I know that it's real. We both had it. I think it's a flu. I think it's viral. The flu that we have now in this country came over in 1921 as the Spanish influenza. 100 years later, we still have 60 to 80 million cases a year. It sucks, but I'm not going to stop life. That's not how we live.
It's just, common sense.
Hey, listen, I agree with you, but there's a lot of people that are in.
I want them to live. I don't want to tell them what to do. I don't want you to tell me what to do. We never closed. We never stopped. We never wore masks. We never got shots. We had COVID. We lived.
I told you my story growing up in church and, going to Catholic school and the taboo, and we've talked about that. I just want to get back into that because, you've talked about all that and growing up in the church, both of you guys. How are the feelings toward you guys now as being out, being online? Do people that you work with know a lot about this? Is this still somewhat hidden, or is there people that won't do business with you because of this stuff? How is all that stuff?
There are. We've never had anyone say that. We've never had any. Actually, we probably get business because we do some of this, but
we figure it probably evens out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The only people we've never talked directly to are our parents. A lot of my family knows. Our kids know. We told our kids so they would never be. We raised our kids to be very open, very honest, and be direct and live.
Was that when they were younger or when they were older, or was it a certain age?
They were older. Yeah. They were teens and later.
Okay.
And that's when we got to the point we feel like, okay, this is more than just something we do from time to time. We enjoy this part of who we are. We enjoy the opportunity to do these things. And and we talked to them about it. The church, we don't know anybody from church from way back then. I'm sure people know. We just don't care.
And I'm sure that the people who won't do business with us will never say that to our faces. That is what I'm sure about.
Well, they're weak-minded in a way then, because we could get, that's another story. There's a lot of people.
I've had very few of those conversations, but the ones that I've had, I will come off and if we ever get the chance to hang out at a party, which I don't go to a lot of them because I don't like crowds that much, but I'm kind of guy. He's kind of a dick. I'm okay with that label. I'm direct. I say what I think. I try to be honest. I sleep well at night because I didn't bullshit people. I don't lead them on. And eventually I'm the friend that they go, if you want to know the truth, if you want to know this dress is ugly, go ask Brad. He'll tell you the dress is ugly.
I respect that.
But because of that, when I have these conversations with people, if they want to make a deal of, I can't believe you do this. Well, how many people you fucked in your life? How many times you had an affair on your wife? Let's get down to the stuff you want to talk about that we do in our marriage openly together that you hide. And then let's talk morality and religion and all these things. And I'm happy to have the conversation. I don't even have to be mad. But if we're going to talk about it, let's talk about it.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's fair because, even these politicians, they got 2-3 mistresses. They're in the closet gay, all this stuff going. Yeah. And so they're afraid of things. But so let me ask you this. So Corey, this is for you. Now, are you picking out the guys that you like and you guys are speaking about it before you approach them, or these people that you already know, or are you meeting people online? How is Bumble, Tinder? How is all this going around?
Actually, usually he does a lot of the screening because, like you said, we do get, quite a few. When you put yourself out there like that,
right.
but he does a lot of screening. And then if he sees somebody that might be potentially, you know, a potential person, then you might send.
We're not on Tinder. We got kicked off there because we mentioned our spouse and we both got banned. So we're all over Tinder, but it's not us. We get this message 10 times a week. Hey, are you on Tinder in Minnesota? No, we're not. People steal our photos and catfish. Literally get this every day. We are on Bumble. Bumble's been cool. We've got some cool people there. I tend to meet the people on social media because she is not a social media person. She doesn't have the bandwidth. I mean, she just doesn't like that much input. She's like, turn it off. I won't pick it up for hours.
Yeah.
Now on OnlyFans and on our site, you've got several guys there that she's met. I don't even really know them, that she's chatted with. One she started a long-term relationship with, that was someone she chose, and she, you know, picked.
Is this someone in Oklahoma, or are they traveling to you, or how is?
This was actually somebody that lived in another state, and it was I never actually met him, so but it was a lot of fun, and we enjoyed the relationship. So and of course meeting people organically and flirting and being out and about is something I enjoy, and he enjoys it. It's fun that we can be out together and be like, oh, that guy's hot, I'm go flirt with him or whatever, and or vice versa. So
well, I feel like a lot of those apps have taken away that, you know, organic chemistry, as you spoke about. Everybody's just swiping left and right. So is that what you guys are doing right now? Is just mainly going to restaurants or bars, or you might see somebody, you're chatting people up. And then if you say, hey, you know, maybe we should look into this guy, then you try to, you know, move into that approach.
We always have an eye out, I think.
I meet people all the time. I talk to everyone. The last person I met was on a plane ride back from our trip, and I'm still chatting with this person.
Like best friends with her now.
So I meet people everywhere.
Yeah, I'm a little more shy. I'll talk and stuff, but it's very difficult actually for, I think, to make something like that. I mean, I've never actually picked anybody up like at a bar or something from home. I'm not that personality, I guess. I'm too shy.
I totally do that. And love it. And just gregarious and chat. And
No,
because I know there's a lot of women that are on Twitter that are, you know, in the hot wife lifestyle, and they kind of talk about all that, picking guys up. I don't know if there's a guy in the picture too, where that guy is, you know, married to them and obviously helping them, but they kind of talk about that. Everybody's different personality regardless.
Right.
It's hard. It's harder, I would say, in my opinion, it's harder for the ladies. Because guys, we can be a little bold, a little crude, a little high schoolish, and we never get out of that sexually. And so there are lots of people I watch all the time, and it's a little frustrating. I watch them crash and burn. They'll come up to Corey, and I'm like, oh God. Because it's something sophomoric and stupid. And hey, girl, I saw you sitting over here. Want to know if I could, you know, I'm like, really? How about, hey, how was your day? Right. Saw you sitting over here. Thought I'd say, hey, mind if I buy you a drink? Be a gentleman. And we preach this all the time on our podcast. We preach it on our show. Just be a gentleman. Yeah, pussy's out there everywhere now. You're still not getting most of it because you're not a damn gentleman. Just chill the fuck out. Be a gentleman. That gets you a long, long way.
Absolutely.
The other thing that happens is online personification. We know a lot of these entertainers.
Yeah.
And they online, they're like, oh my God, I can't wait for you. That is not who they are. That's their show. So these guys are like, oh, they're begging me for dick pics. I know her. She hates dick pics. You're subscribing to her page and you're paying her to like things that's not the way women are naturally motivated. We've gotten confused in this society like the world changed. No, it fucking didn't. Just because we can't figure out what sex is what or what we want to be called doesn't mean the nature of man changed. Women love to be chased and pursued by someone with a little bit of respect and decorum and manners.
Absolutely.
Guys like to chase. Most of us guys, if a girl walked right up to you and put her finger in your chest and said, I'm going to fuck you on the bar, you'd be like, oh, hell no, you're not. That's not the way the game works. I'm scared.
No, hell no. No, I hear you. And I agree with you. There's too much of that other stuff going on, which you just spoke about with the people not knowing who the hell they are, but that's another story for another day. I want to go into this. So what would you tell someone like me that, has a girlfriend that may see what you guys do and kind of in their mind, they're thinking, hey, maybe I'd like for my girlfriend to try this, but you're very scared of how this may, she's very conservative, as far as that goes. And I'm kind of scared to kind of push her in too far of a direction where you may lose somebody really good and somebody that you care about in the long run, as far as that goes. So what kind of advice would you give someone like me, but other viewers that are listening, that are in my predicament, that, are dating these women and they're just worried about these issues?
Don't push.
How would I lead in that direction? Should I,
Don't push.
Okay.
Well, I mean, this is relationship basics. Don't push. Talk to her. Be honest.
Yeah.
You want to take a trip somewhere to a great place on the planet. How do you talk to her about it? Hey, I've always wanted to go to this place. I'd love to go. Something you'd like to do. Something you've ever thought about. It's kind of a wild place. I know, but I've just always wanted to go. I wondered if you want to go with me. Talk.
Right.
Be honest. Ask questions.
But is this a younger man's game to be in this kind of lifestyle?
I'm 46.
Right.
No.
I hear you. I'm not saying that you're 80 or 90. Please.
We started
what I'm saying is I'm 46. I'm pushing 50. This game is very much alive for us. No, it's not a younger man's game. It's anyone's game who wants to pursue an open relationship. It can be honest and talk about it. Here's the truth about this lifestyle. Cheating in the lifestyle is just like cheating in monogamy.
Yeah.
Lying in the lifestyle is just like lying in monogamy. It's the same damn thing.
Right. I think honesty, you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to be honest with your person. And like he said, realize that the conversation might be a long one. It literally took us years. It took me years of, first I had to leave the church and leave my religion mindset. So that alone took several years before I could even think about being free sexually. So he was very patient for many years. And it started out in very small things, like massages. And,
I will say the world is more open-minded than it used to be. So your conversation's probably not as far away as you think. You'll also be surprised how many times we hear people started this conversation and the other thought process was going on the other side too. And I will tell you that will not have the reaction in you that you think it will, because we deal with this and hear this all the time. Guys are like, man, I was, and then she told me she wanted to do it. I'm like, hold up. What guys you interested in? What do you mean you want to fuck other people?
Yeah. What's wrong with me?
You gotta wear you got to wear both shoes, man.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't trying to get at as far as the age thing, I say like prevalent on Twitter, I'm seeing more women and men doing this in their 30s and their 40s, not in their 20s and early 20s.
Oh, you think it's the reverse game? It's
that's what I was trying to say.
I've had 5 conversations today with people in the early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The world is a different place than when we started, for sure.
And for whatever reason, us old people are attractive to the young people now. It wasn't that way when I was a kid. If you were 40 and I was 20, I mean, I didn't know we were supposed to.
You got to look at listen, I've dated older women that are older than me, and I'm 30. So that's just the hint. And my thing is that a lot of the girls that are my age and in their late 20s, they're very immature. They're always looking down at their phones. I'm a person that I like talking to people. I even bring back to college. I'll bring you back here. I would be walking straight forward saying hi to everybody. The girls would always be looking down at their phones. Then you look back at them and you'd see that they lifted their head up, and then someone else would be coming. They go right down to the phone again. So this is hurting kids in general growing up right now, as far as in jobs. I don't know how they're going to communicate with people because they just go right to the phone. There's no eye contact when they're talking to people. So, everything's Bumble and Tinder, like you said. And why would I want to go out with some girl that's just wants to swipe all day long, and they might be out with you on a date and still be swiping? And I've had that done too. And I told the girl, I said, well, what are we doing here? Why are we wasting each other's time? I'd rather be by myself and have a good time than be with you doing this.
That's
bullshit.
one of the things we enjoy about how we do this while we're married. We can go on a date, have the worst date out there ever. We're still coming home to each other. We're still married. It's still good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's
hard to
that's
lose.
what I'm saying. There's an economic, socioeconomic issue there with a lot of these girls. And, you know, I don't want to just blame it on girls. As a guy, obviously, I look at women, but I'm just saying these girls. So I want to talk to somebody that's mature. And a lot of the women that are in their 40s and 50s, they work out now. They look good. They keep in shape. They're eating the correct things. They're not just looking like a flabby Sally that's sitting by the pool. That's a tank. No offense to her. God bless her. But regardless of that, they're taking care of their bodies, 40s, 50s. You know, some of these women, even their 60s. I forgot, though, there was a woman that's like almost 70. She looked like she was like 40. She was on one of the TV shows. I forget the woman's name. It bothers me. But regardless of that, why not go out with somebody like that instead of somebody that might look hot, but they're immature as hell and they can't make any decisions and they're watching the Kardashians all day? I don't want to watch that shit. Yeah. I'm just being honest with you. I don't want to watch that shit. I don't give a shit what those people haven't done a damn thing in their lives. They're jokes. And they, you know, I don't, it's, anyways, don't get me started. I'm fed up with this whole society that we call America right now. It's a total joke from politics on down, but go ahead. Anyways.
I agree with that. I feel like I feel like we kind of lucked out, you know. I don't know if we lucked out. We made the decision early on. We got married at 20.
Oh, wow.
We had our first kid at 23, and we had a plan, and this is what we were doing, and we were focused and we worked hard, and it was, we didn't know any better. It was just what we did. And looking back now, we're like, we're so glad. We don't regret it.
We wanted to have kids early. We knew we wanted to have them early. We wanted to be young and enjoy them while they were young, while we were young, and we did that. We just sent our youngest off to college. So we're in the spot now where, I mean, every Friday, tomorrow at noon, we will leave. We will go to the lake and get on the boat. We will stay on the boat until Sunday at noon, and we'll come home. Every weekend through the summer. And we're to that point in life now where we're young enough, we're enjoying it. Kids are grown. We see the kids every week, usually have family dinner, but we also get the time to go do the things we want to do. So
we're kind of living those college years that we didn't live when we were college age. We're living them now, so having fun.
No, that's great to hear. And I think hopefully people get their shit together and they, you know, live more like you guys. And that's what the hope is in general for my generation.
We got friends that are starting late too. One of the philosophical conversations I have a lot is the world would suck if they were all like me. Hey, I like me, but a world full of me, I would probably nuke the world. It would suck. And we're all that way, the diversity and the different thought processes. And that's intriguing to me. That's what's so intriguing. We love cultures. We love people. Darius, you were asking earlier, what's our primary sexual motivation? I'm a guy. I see boobies and I think I want to touch them. Every single one of them. I want to touch them. I think thinking about a nice ass, I just want to, just make me happy. But when we start getting into having sex, now I want to explore. This is more. I love cultures. We had a Chinese girlfriend for a while. You asked earlier about, like the Queen of Spades or the racial thing. There's not one. There's beautiful. We've had sex with Indian people, American Indian people, Asian, Hispanic. South American, Hispanic. I mean, people are sexy, not because of their color. They're sexy because of who they are.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Let me throw something in there for you then, out of curiosity. There are 3 questions, but the first one is, could you ever go back to a one-on-one sexual relationship with each other? Just you two together and that's it. Could you ever be plain vanilla?
No. No.
Why not?
Why not? Could you ever go back to baby food for the rest of your life and eat no other meal?
Good point. Okay.
Could we? Yes. But would we know what we're missing? Absolutely. Would we choose to? No. We're way beyond that pale of thinking.
Yeah. We've had the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Just, if as things have, we get too busy, too stressed, or conflict or something like that. And we're like, would we, could we? And we both always end up, saying, no, It just, I guess we had to for health reasons or something.
We don't have to. We don't have to want to. We wouldn't choose to.
Right.
Could we? Yeah, we'll survive anything. We agree when we got married, we will not divorce. That's just how it is. That made us fighting through anything else very easy. We're not leaving. I will haunt you till you die. But
part two of that is, has either one of you ever gone rogue and established an outside relationship that the other person didn't know about? And I want to get an answer from each one of you.
Oh, no, I have not.
Okay.
Yes, you have. That's where we got the ride through the marriage thing. Not long term. Corey has been very much in her years. If someone came through with power in the early years, or she perceived them as a great leader, she would be like, "Oh my God, they're so amazing." So in our marriage, I could tell, "Hey, this is a thing," and she would ignore me. They would say it, and she's like, "Oh my God, you don't believe what they said." They said, I'm like, "Oh my," that kind of thing.
Right. But I was always like, well, I didn't have sex with them, or, it wasn't like that. So I always thought it was, I think women tend to have that emotional attachment, and men are probably more likely to go out, tap that, and then
emotional connection.
Yeah.
I had an affair our second year of marriage. We moved to Denver, met a redhead, never had sex with the redhead at that age. And she said yes. And that's all I needed. She said yes. And did. And then guilt of what I'd done. And I had to tell Corey about it.
And my last question, it's been a pleasure to talk to you guys tonight, but here's the last question. Last question of the hour is, do you think that based upon your financial means, because I find that when I'm in my 50s now, when you have the financial means, and I'm in the real estate business, you can kind of do what you want to do with having the lifestyle of both the boat, the planes, and so forth. And that gives you the ability to do more things. So there are people that are probably watching this probably saying, I can't do that because financially speaking, I don't have the means to do it. Do you think that adds on to your ability to do it?
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course. I'll tell you, we both grew up very poor.
Okay.
Very poor. Our first 10 years of marriage were very poor, like $50 in the account at the end of the month if we had a good month. Okay. If not, we were scraping by to nothing the first 10 years. And that's when we started companies. And we've had a very good life. And we've sold a couple of companies, done very well. We've lived in every income tax bracket there is. And I will tell you that money does not make you happy, but there's some shit it does make easier.
Amen.
It's just the truth of how it is. Our worst years of marriage and our worst years of life were the years we sold and had the most money.
Interesting.
They were not good years.
Why so?
A lot of things. Worried about first, this is foreign. Somebody going to take this from us? Is it real? How do
we keep it?
Are they going to sue us? Then how do we have it next year? How do we make it more? And now you didn't. There is when you have nothing, there is no pressure. What are you going to end up with? Nothing less, nothing is still nothing. But when you get I have the expectation to keep it and to multiply it.
Yeah. How do we invest? How do we? What's the best?
3 years ago, we started selling everything. We had rental houses. We had all businesses at a lake. We've sold things. We are 6,000 square foot home. We now live in an 1,100 square foot condo, and we are fucking thrilled.
We love it.
It's the best place we've lived. The kids moved out. We thought, why would we keep this? We got to mow it. We got to heat it. We got to cool it. It's just the two of us. Mm-hmm. And we had so many things going. We're always putting a roof on something. We're always fixing a business. We're always tweaking this. We're always moving a renter in or out. We're always mowing something. And those things led to so many draws on our time that this wasn't as possible. Okay. Family time was not as possible. We were passing each other coming and going. So having all those things they're nice. Try them if you can get there. Do it. American dream. Go get it. But along the way, take some notes and get back to where you're happy when you get the chance. So we do have the socioeconomic means, the economic means to do those things, and the social abilities to explore. And yes, it's made this easier. Absolutely. I'll also tell you though, we get offers every week. Hey, we're going to travel to you. We want to come see you. We want to come see you. How many times that happened in 11 years?
Very rarely.
Maybe one.
Yeah.
People talk about it. They don't do it. Mm-hmm. In this day and age, we get calls from all over. I'm in California. I'm going to come to Oklahoma next month. Hey, I'm in New York. Fly up here. Hey, it's easy to reach them. It's not easy to get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But are these just guys bullshitting?
A lot of them, of course, but I think if we would take the time and go, there's a lot of opportunity, but we have lives. This is not our life. This is what we do for fun.
Right. We do actually work.
But my question is, how do you sort through all the bullshit online on Twitter? You get all these guys sending dick pics and all the bullshit that they're sending you. They want to do this to you. They want to do that. How do you sort through? I'm sure you get thousands of friggin' messages weekly, daily, for that matter. How do you cut through all the bull there?
Delete.
Yeah. Is it a lot of bullshit though, or is it people that you said?
A lot. We get about 1,000 messages a day is what we average. So we don't have time to interact with every one of those people. But I mean, it's like anything else. You know, when you first start anything you do, how do you turn out a good quality? Well, you don't even know what quality is when you first start. But as you get going, you pick up the scent and the trail and the thing. And now it's very simple. I mean, it's not hard to go, this is fake. This is a catfish. Catfish people hit hard and fast. Hey, you guys are sexy. I want to meet. Let's meet tonight. You can fuck my wife. Anything you want. Can I do yours? Send me a picture. Send me a picture. Send me a picture. You're out. You're just shopping for photos. You're not real. And there are things you just start to cue in on and pick up on and know this isn't going anywhere.
But what is your type? Go ahead, Corey. I'm sorry.
I was going to say your favorite line ever is when someone says, "Can I ask you a question?"
That's the first line of the.
Like, you just fucking asked a question.
A lot of times he's like, "No," and then he just.
I just can't.
He just can't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough crowd out there. I like I said, I respect you guys for doing this and being out there and listening to all the gobbledygook that's on social media in general. But regardless of that, so, you know, when you're going into this, Corey, what are you looking for? I guess I'll frame it this way. What kind of guy are you looking for? Or what is it? Someone that's more of Brad's type, your type, both of you guys? As type? Is it a younger guy? Is it an older guy? What are you looking at for a guy?
I don't know that I just have a type, a box, you know, it has to be this age or that. It can't be too young. If you're as young as my kids, you're going to be too young, you know.
Yeah, obviously not no one 18.
But to me, intelligence and being a gentleman are number one, and there obviously has to be some physical attraction, and that can be very random. I mean, there's a basic, you need to take care of yourself, but I'm not into big gym buff dudes, you know. I call them overbaked. You know, I like you to take care of yourself and be healthy, but not spend all day in the gym. So there are broad generalizations like that, but a lot of it is about the personality, and are they a gentleman? Are they respectful? That goes a long way. I
would have argued this years ago, until an experience we had a couple of years ago with a couple and a beautiful lady that I did not think was beautiful initially. I mean, she was pretty, but she just wasn't. And I told Corey I'd met her and we'd been hanging out with these guys a couple months. I said, she's kind of a 4 or 5 performing at a 9. And I found her as and more attractive than I would a physical 9. And it took me a while as a guy because I'm so visually motivated to see that. But attraction is deeper than I would have told you it was in my 20s. Attraction, there are people out there that are beautiful when you get to know them that I would not have seen at Skin Deep, that are amazing people that I've had a lot of fun with. And Corey's same thing. Some of the best fun she's had with people that look nothing like me. Corey's first measure is, well, if he doesn't have broad shoulders and he's not manly, and if I think I'm bigger than him, I'm out. Well, a couple of guys she's clicked with the most were smaller frame, but they were gentlemen and they were intelligent. And they, as a guy, your job is to chase as a gentleman.
Well, Brad, have we lost that in society, though? Because, you know, I was brought up to hold the door open, obviously inside and out. But then when you go to the car, open the door for the woman, then you go around the car and get in. We don't see that anymore. And again, that's the younger generation. I hate to say that and blame my generation and the younger group, but that's the way the cookie crumbles.
I'm going to tell you where you're sitting. You're sitting in a chair that is in that crucible, and you're going to cross over the next couple of years. And you're going to realize that every generation says the same thing about the prior. And every generation, thinks the next people are going to end the earth. And I've sat in the same place where these guys coming up, and then you realize most of society, most of people mature into their 30s.
Yeah.
They're fucking idiots in their teens and 20s. So were we. We just weren't smart enough to know it back then. We didn't have enough experience to know it back then. But does society change? All the time. Are the rules changing? Of course they are. The game doesn't change. The nature of man doesn't change, but what we call it and how we identify it, what's acceptable now was not acceptable then. It will go back to acceptable at some point. It's the cycle of humanity. It's always been this way.
Brad, just to push back, there was a lot simpler in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, and even the early 90s.
What was simpler? What was simpler?
Well, there was life was simpler. There was no social media. There was none of this.
You weren't there. It wasn't simpler. Yeah. We were building bomb shelters under every house because we were worried about the Russians, and we had the Bay of Pigs invasion. We assassinated a president. We were worried. It was different. It wasn't simpler. You don't change the nature of man. If we go back far enough, I don't want to live in ancient Egypt where it's fucking blazing hot with no cold water and air conditioning. I don't want to pioneer the United States. I kind of don't want to live here at times either. It's just.
No, yeah, that's fair.
I would just say keep opening the doors. I think a lot of that has come from women standing up being like, I don't need you to open the door for me. I can do whatever. I'm a woman.
Yes,
hear me roar.
thank you.
And I think it's sad.
It is, but it's always been there. You couldn't have had Cleopatra way back then.
But is that the feminism movement? Oh, Brad, is that the feminism movement in this country with what Corey just said about holding the doors?
Yeah, and it's always been here. There were girls that way when I was in high school. This always been a thing. We wouldn't have had the 60s and the 70s. We wouldn't have had the roaring 20s of women burning bras. There's always been an element of people pushing against where they are. It doesn't matter if where they are is good or bad. They still push against where they are. It's just society. Yeah. I understand that in this day and age for guys, and I know it's hard for guys because I'm a guy. I don't know the girl's side. I do know the guy's side. On the guy side, we had an incident this last couple of weeks ago. There's a girl that lives in our building. I was walking into our store. She did not have a bra on. I didn't know this. I'd never seen her. But as two people are walking out, it's a girl and a guy. They're making fun of her. The girls, oh my God, you see that girl? She wasn't wearing a bra. And the guy was like, she didn't have any titties. She didn't need a bra. And they're laughing and making fun of her all the way to the elevator. So I go in, get my stuff. I come to the counter. She does not have a bra on. She has almost a see-through shirt. So I said, hey, I noticed you're not wearing a bra. My wife doesn't wear a bra. Proud of you. Kudos for being who you are, not letting society, any of that stuff. And she was very nice and very polite. And it was, oh, thank you, blah, blah, blah. 2 weeks later, we see her in the elevator. Corey's getting on. And I said, hey, Corey, that's the girl, because she wasn't wearing a bra again. I said, that's the girl I was telling you I had that conversation with. And I said, my wife doesn't wear a bra. And they had a conversation. It was great. That was a couple months ago. 2 weeks ago, I walk in the building and this little girl walks across the foyer to me and says, hey, I want to talk to you, and just goes off on me. Twice now, you have been freely speaking about my body, and just starts yelling at me. I want you to know that if you don't appreciate me, if you don't see me for who I am and not my body, then you don't see me, and I'm more than a body. And I'm like, I've never complimented her body. I don't like her body. But I was complimenting her mind for being, but I'm getting on the elevator. I'm like, fuck it. I'm not, no conflict. I'm gonna get on the elevator, push the button. And as the door's closing, she says, if you don't take me seriously, then I said, it's hard to take you seriously right now. And the door closed and I went up, and I haven't seen her since. She was happy with the compliments on her mind, and something happened in that time that now she's pissed off.
Yeah.
Does that happen? Yeah, but guys do it too. We're dicks too. I mean, the women don't have a lock on feminism. We men have the machoism, and it's
right. No, I agree with
toxic
that.
Masculinity, they call it nowadays.
Yeah, I don't know what the answers are. I think it's fun to watch. Makes for great people viewing. I just don't want to live all the drama with them.
I want to go to some of these audience questions as we'll see how much. At 6 minutes, this thing is about to time out again. So as we go to the end of the interview, so let's go on to this then. Can you talk about this? Because this is where I have these fantasies about what you guys do. And like I said, the girlfriend talk will get down the road if we do. Regardless of that, I don't know if I could be in the room as much as I would enjoy watching it. I know obviously pornography is different than real life, but I don't know if I could handle that in person. So, this is for you, Brad. How did you start, I guess I should say, handling watching your wife, who you love, just getting banged out?
Our very first experience, I didn't know. I thought it was the very first thing I set up. I had asked for this, and the first thing we set up was with a guy, and I'm watching it happen. And we talk about this on the show or two. And while I'm watching, I am turned on like I've never been and jealous like I've never been. And I don't know who's going to win. They're back and forth this whole time. And when the thing was over, it was the most erotic thing I've ever seen. This is nothing like porn. Yeah. This is porn to infinite crack level. This is awesome shit when you're watching it. Now, there are some moments you're like, oh, why am I letting this? Holy shit, that's what's going on. And at the end, it was so erotic. Obviously, we kept doing it.
Yeah. All right. And then just for these last two questions too. So when we talk about positions, I know you said anal was not a position that was very well liked by Corey. Corey, do you have a favorite position? I know.
Yeah, probably cowgirl would be my favorite. It used to be missionary. I kind of transitioned somewhere in the last couple of years.
Yeah, she used to like to have you on top. Now she likes to drive a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. But I also love to be taken from behind, but I can't come that way.
Corey likes to be possessed a little bit. She has to trust someone to get there. But when she's met a few times when a guy will just, as long as it's not the young guys that flip every 2 minutes like they're in a porn and they're making porn and they fuck from every angle possible.
Yeah, there's a right way to do it. Is that
an issue too, Corey, though? Because you got all these young guys in there, and they're just, a lot of them don't really know much about sex. It's just pornography, period, that they're learning sex through watching pornography. So are you kind of teaching them a one-off? Because go ahead.
One of our first fantasies was like, all right, let's find a younger guy and that would be fun. I'll kind of show him the ropes. I learned really fast you can't show those guys the ropes. Well, there's that certain type of personality where they're like, oh, I know what to do with you. And they're going to try it all in one go. And they're just, literally flipping me around. And they're like, is that great for you? I'm like, dude, most porn is made for men from men. So it's very hard to find porn that women actually enjoy. So I don't know. We have had some young guys since then that were more timid in personality and kind of let me lead a little bit.
Brad talk, and the Brad talk, when they get the Brad talk, they're usually fine. And the Brad talk is, she's very sensitive, all those things, be very gentle, be a gentleman. Don't be a dick. Don't be. And then they're like, okay, then they can kind of chill out and get out of their head. Now we're out of porn mode. Yeah. We're into having sex mode and having fun mode. So,
and then that can be fun because then I can kind of lead a little bit and have fun with them. So.
Corey, our deal online is, and it's really true. She's very shy and bashful until you take her clothes off. And it is a bursting forth onto the scene. Something's going in her mouth when her clothes come off, and she's going to get you naked right now. Am I wrong?
Oh.
So,
I think.
Yeah, go ahead, Corey. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I think it's part of the fun of having the experience now, because I don't think I was that way initially. I was, so timid and shy, but having done this for a while now, I'm like, okay, I know what I'm doing.
How many years have you guys been doing this now for?
Since 2010.
Okay, so a fairly good amount of time. Yeah. So when she's doing that with the other guy, and I know you have the OnlyFans, are you taking pictures? Are you masturbating, Brad? Are you filming? Are you doing all three?
If I'm there, I'm either filming or playing. I'm not a cuck, a cuckold. Mm-hmm. You're not going to come in and dominate my wife in front of me. I will punch you in the nut on the mount. I just will. Yeah. Now, if you want to come in respectful and have sex, you can have sex all you want to. And I'll jump in if I want. I won't if I don't. And sometimes I don't. I'll record, and I love it because I get to see it later. But you have to know that's the other problem with lifestyles. People don't know the terms. No, you're not. You only have balls. You ain't a bull. A bull is someone who comes in and dominates a wife in front of a husband. A bull goes with a cuck. We are stag vixen. And stag vixen means there's no power exchange with us. We're both people who both play with other people and both enjoy it. And I'm not embarrassing her and she's not embarrassing or humiliating me. That's not the power dynamic that we do. So learning the language goes a long way toward being in the right spot.
Yeah, I could never do the bull stuff. That's too much for me mentally. Yeah. But go ahead, Corey.
I was just going to say, I would not enjoy that either. I think a strong man is very sexy, and I do not understand why having a man be humiliated in any way is sexy. It's just not my thing at all, let alone my husband, because I'd want to kick him in the nuts too. So
I think that's a mental health thing with some people that have issues there, and that's why they get off to that. You talk about the website, and I'm just looking at it right now. Can you tell the viewers and the people that are listening in on the radio also of the membership styles, what happens there? Because we do want people to sign up if they're willing to do that.
Well, one of the things we tried to do with the website is give loyalty content. So
it's subscription based for all the videos. There's no pay-per-view in there. So once you get in, you're in. Then we did some of the drip. We would have people that would go in for 1 month and just watch and say, I want this, I want that, I want this. And then they drop their subscription. And for $14, you don't get to place orders. You get to enjoy what's here, you know?
So something we did with our website is we created a loyalty content. So, when you've been there a month, you can have more access to some things in 2 months and 3 months and so forth. So just, I guess kind of as a reward. And we feel that, our content is hours and hours and hours of work and editing after the fun. And people, if you,
well, they don't get how long it takes to edit.
Yeah.
We put out a 10-minute video. That's an hour of editing. It was probably an hour of shooting.
Or more.
We're minimum of 2 hours into this thing, and you got 10 minutes. You're like, where are the full length stuff?
You just want to punch them.
I wasn't going to kill anybody.
Hey,
when
I get
this
it.
morning,
I definitely get about the editing. It's no joke.
What's on there? It's all of our content. She posts daily. There's a chat room you can chat in. That she does not usually chat on Twitter and Reddit. And we say that on those sites. If you're chatting, it's usually with me screening. I'll usually post the pictures on those things. I'll chat screen people. If they go to the website, if you're on OnlyFans or you're on our website, you're talking to Corey.
Right.
On our website, we have our own profile, so you can tell me from her. On OnlyFans, it's just one login. You don't know who it is, but it's never me. I don't get on there. If you're on Twitter or Reddit, 80% of the time it's me. She'll hop in there and buzz around and read comments and check stuff out from time to time, but usually it's me saying, and I'm very clear about that. I'm not trying to deceive anybody. We just don't. I'll tell you, it says it on the fucking profile if you'll read it. This is the husband screening. This is a joint account, but that's where we are. She's on the sites where you're wanting to interact. You've showed more than you just hopped on Twitter and threw a bunch of tweets.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that have trouble reading too. We got to take that into consideration. In this country, they don't teach reading well. But anyways, par for the course. We'll go on to that. So again, people that do want to get in there, as you said, there's thousands. And let's give the website. It's BCFLYERS2016.xxs. Sorry, I have trouble saying words. BCFLYERS2016.xxx. And there's so many other things besides the videos and the pictures and all that other jazz. And obviously you can chat with Corey. What else did I forget besides what I just rambled off, Brad?
Yeah, that's the most of that site. There's some blog posts there. When we do a podcast, we'll usually tag it there so those members have quick access to it. Mm-hmm. We've got a couple of other sites. We've written a couple of small smut books. We've got a novel coming out in a little while. So we've got some things that those are things we enjoy. We've enjoyed doing, and then we put out. They're on Amazon. You can see them. If you go to Twitter or you go to Reddit or you go to the website, there's a link to Linktree, and you can see all the stuff we have.
Yep.
So
it's pretty simple.
Yeah, and with that, so the erotica books that are out, I know you have 2 out on Amazon. Is that just who's writing those books, and is it both as a combination as far as you guys writing those books?
Yep, it's a combination.
Okay.
Corey's actually writing her own. The second book that's out, I wrote most of that. I probably wrote all of that when you edited. The first one we co-wrote. The second one I wrote. The one that's coming out, she wrote. And then we've got a novel that I'm writing that she loves to edit and do editing work. I'm usually more of the creative story teller.
Now, is the stories? Oh, sorry, Corey. Go ahead.
Just gonna say, it takes me 10 times longer to put out the same amount of words that it does him. He's very prolific and creative. So,
now the novel and the new productions you're putting out as far as books, are you taking some of your own life story, some stories that happened in both of your lives, and bring it into writing with the erotica?
The erotica is very much things that they're stories on things that we've done. Yes. The novel is very fictional with real life characters and people. They're based on people that we know, but it's a very fictional story.
Okay, but it is going to be a sexual story, correct?
No, that one will have some. It's actually an international spy thriller.
Oh, okay.
So and it'll be a 3-part book. The first book will come out hopefully by the end of the year, and then the next couple will write over the next year or two. It'll be a 3-part, almost probably more of a John Grisham style, I think is what it'll look more like, with some sexy intrigue, but not a smut book. It's not its intent.
Wow, that's a total different wavelength to what you're used to writing. So, what got you into that? I'm just, is this like a kind of a James Bond, Jason Bourne type of deal? Is that what you're a movie guy like that, or is it something different? Or?
This was just I don't remember how we wrote a couple of the smut books, and I like to write. I enjoy creating a story, and I just sat down one day and started writing this book. And said, hey, I think I'm gonna write a book. And we love to explore. We rarely vacation the same place twice. We don't eat at the same restaurant all the time. We've been there. We want to see something new. And our girls will tell you that mom and dad wear them out because our question's what's next. We don't live in all the stuff we've done. We did that. What's next? I've got one of my best friends wants to talk about everything we've ever done historically. I want to know what we're doing now and tomorrow.
Brad, I think this is your next call in writing books.
I'm looking forward to it. We have an exit strategy from our company that our company will transition over the next 2 to 3 years to our children. And I'm looking forward to going out on the boat and writing. It's one of the things we've talked about doing and getting much more heavily involved in.
Will you ever write like a full, obviously this lifestyle is still going on, but would you ever write like kind of a biography of both of your lives and growing up and how you got into the lifestyle, kind of like a tell-all, and then sell it?
Maybe Rob, Corey would be more prone to write that. I've never read a self-help book. I don't read autobiographies. This is not who I am. I want to go hit my head on that door until I figure that fucking door out. I don't care how you figured it out. I want to know how I figure. And that's my personality. So I don't know that I would from the direction, and I don't think I'm interesting enough to write a book that people want to fucking read.
Yeah, but you guys have a pretty big following. Let's be honest with each other. I'm not trying to, pump you up or anything, but you do have a huge following. I think people would like to hear some of these stories and, the approaches and how guys have been assholes and how guys have been good and all that jazz.
Yeah, we do a lot of that in the podcast.
Right.
And that's more relational. A book to me is an escape. It's like a movie. I don't watch reality movies. I want to go to fantasy land. I don't want to watch reality. That's what I'm trying to get out of. That's why I'm watching a movie or reading a book. I don't want to read self-help. That's not, I want to go to another land in my mind that's magical and amazing. And I don't want to read about how to not eat chocolate after dinner. Fuck that.
Well, I'm reading a cool down book before I go to bed at night, A Tale of Love, The Lessons of a Pet Therapy Dog. And that might sound depressing, but it's extremely more relaxing than watching the bullshit on TV about the political nonsense going on in our country right now. So I like to read dog books.
Hey, you like political, find a book. It's called American Presidents Without the Boring Bits. It's a cool book. You'll get a lot of perspective. The American Presidents Without the Boring Bits. I didn't write it. Some British dude wrote it, I think. Really cool book about the history of the U.S. presidents from Washington all the way to Obama at the time. Just talking about their administrations, their cabinets, their successes, their failures, the political churning going on. It's only like 1 to 2 pages per president. Really cool read. And it lets you, in a pretty quick read, go, shit, none of the stuff we're seeing today is new. I mean,
what was it? American Presidents of
Without the Boring Bits.
Oh,
yeah, fun read. If you like history and you like the political debate and you like the scene, you realize none of this is new. I mean, they were having duels. I think our vice president shot somebody a couple hundred years ago. They took this shit really seriously then too.
Does that sound right? Andrew Jones, Andy Jones.
I don't know.
Oh, I didn't know. Did you read it or no?
Yeah, I've read it. I've read it. It's been probably 10 years since. Well, it's been maybe 10 years since I read it. It was a great book. Pretty fast read.
All right. Well, we'll end there. Again, for people that do want to go on the website, I recommend it. I've been following them for quite a while. I know Darius has also. It's BCFLYERS2016.xxx. Definitely check out the podcast, Bedroom to Boardroom. And a boardroom to bedroom. I'm sorry, I fucked that up. So
we don't care. We're happy.
Well, I'm sure it would come up on YouTube, but I don't know if it would come up on the Spotify sites. But
the easiest way to search any of those is just BC Flyers 2016. That'll come up faster than boardroom to bedroom.
Yeah.
Right. Probably so. So definitely check it out. But Corey, again, thanks so much for your time. Thanks so much for doing what you're doing. And Brad, same thing. And thank you for helping me set this interview up, Brad. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Rob, Darius, it's a pleasure meeting both of you. We've enjoyed it. We love chatting with people. So
it's been a great time. Thank you for having us out.
Yeah.
Take care.